Same for me too. Kind of come out of a full-time vocational ministry context. I was a worship leader for a long time, and then moved into other ministry roles. Same with Justin Rhodes there as well. He's another guy on our team in North Carolina. He's a church planter currently. So every Sunday he is preaching and leading and building a team at his local church, and then spends his weekdays working with outreach and helping consult with churches and partner with them to give them the tools that they need to succeed and to reach their communities. So with that being said, I see we are recording now. Is that correct? I believe it is correct. If not,
Yeah,
let's go
we're
ahead and start
recording.
that
Good to
recording.
go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matthew Sisson. He's another guy on our team. So as we start recording, I just want to say another warm welcome to everybody. This is 5 Ways to Double Your Visitors this fall, one of our webinars that we're doing now as outreach. Again, as you get into the call, and if you haven't already, feel free to open up the chat window on the bottom right corner of your screen. Open that up and you'll see everybody's name and church and location. Just kind of cool to see where everybody is from. And also kind of encouraging and inspiring. You know, I know through my years in ministry, you might share this sentiment. Sometimes it feels like you're on an island. Sometimes it feels like you're the only one who's kind of working to reach your community, and you're the only one on a webinar like this, and nobody quite gets or understands all the work that goes in behind the scenes for you to reach your community for the gospel. And if nothing else, like if none of this info is helpful today, if nothing else, what could be cool is that you look around on this call and realize that there's about 70 other people right here in these moments that are also trying to reach their communities. People from all different kinds of theological convictions and ideological preferences and styles and traditions, all of that kind of joining together to reach people with the love of Jesus. And that's so encouraging to us. I mean, that's the heartbeat of outreach. That is kind of what wakes us up in the morning and keeps us going, is the fact that we get to partner with you and help you reach more of your world for Jesus. So all of that being said, this webinar will be recorded as it is now, and we'll capture that. We'll be able to share it later. So even if someone was not able to make it, they'll be able to check that out later. Now, we call this 5 Ways to Double Your Visitors this fall. I'm going to give a quick introduction to that and then punt it over to Matt, and he's going to help us with our first point here. But 5 Ways to Double Your Visitors this fall. You didn't necessarily log on to hear us preach about anything, but I would be remiss not to just start it with this thought. Just you with this in your heart and your mind. Proverbs 21:31 says that the horse is made ready for the day of battle, but the victory belongs to the Lord. And then I go on to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and I'm reminded of this passage. I planted, Paul speaking here, I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God gives the growth. I just say that just to set our hearts and our minds in the right place, because outreach might think that we're very clever, thinking of 5 ways that you can double your visitors this fall, and that's a admittedly presumptuous thing to say and call this webinar, but we just need all of us to understand that we can put in some input, right? Like we can try to facilitate everything in the world. We can plan, we can strategize, we could send 1,000, 100,000 mailers to the community and buy all the banners and the signs and whatever else. But at the end of the day, God is the one who does the work. He's the one who reaches the people. He's the one who, he cannot be manipulated or forced into anything, and he also cannot be stopped from doing what he intends to do. So I'm hoping that that's just a liberating reminder to you, something kind of sets your heart and your mind at ease, knowing that you can be confident. God intends to reach people. He absolutely plans to reach people in your community through your ministry. And it's an honor, I think, just to be able to partner with him, knowing that man, you're not the one who's going to win the souls. You're not the one who's going to win the battle. You partner with God. You do everything you can, and you watch him provide the results. I think that's a good way to start, just this time together. With that being said, we do want to talk through, okay, what are some practical, tangible things that we can do, some seeds, so to speak, that we can be planting in order to watch God bring the harvest. And so 5 things we want to encourage you toward this fall. Number 1 is called Outreach Smart Mail. We'll talk about that in a second. Number 2, Related but separate to that is outreach social ads. Number 3, Back to Church Sunday coming up here on September 15th. Number 4, invitation stations, just a very practical kind of easy thing that you can plug in at your church. And number 5, just a broader category that we call intentional neighboring, and a few ideas and tips and tricks that you can implement on that. With that being said, number 1 is outreach smart mail, and Matt's going to kind of walk us through what that is. Go for it, Matt.
Yeah, so super excited about Smart Mail. It's something we've recently launched, and we're seeing really good returns with it. Good feedback from the churches who are utilizing it. And one thing to think about, when you do using direct mail is a larger investment. I mean, we at Outreach, one thing we do is we guarantee a low price on direct mail across the country for not only churches but nonprofit ministries that are faith-based. So we're super happy to help with that. But the thing we've added here is a few new features to help your reach go further. So if you're going to spend that money, we want to get behind it and try to innovatively, creatively maximize your reach. So, so we say in Alabama, more bang for your buck. I don't know if y'all say that other places. Maybe it's just here. But a few different ways we've strategically tried to help you get a few more touch points out of your direct mail. So the first thing we do is targeted direct mail, and that can be based off of a zip code you want to target. Maybe you want to target partial zip codes, certain zip codes you want to target. There's a mile radius you want to target. Jake, can you just flip back to that last slide real quick? Perfect. And it can be our design or your design. So if there's several designs on our website, hundreds of designs you can choose from, or you may say, hey, I have this person on my team. We have some branding we're already doing. We want to match up with our branding, sync up with that. You can upload your own artwork. We'll send you a template to do that. And then the same people that you choose through targeting, whether it's a mile radius or a zip code targeting, will also, with partnership with the USPS, anyone who that mailing route who has informed delivery, which is about almost half of Americans right now are using informed delivery, will also get an email with your postcard. So your postcard, full color, will show up also not only in their inbox, but in their email inbox as well. And then if they click anywhere on that design, it's going to route them back to your website so they can get more information about you. So now you have the direct mail touch point, you have an email touch point, and then we've recently partnered with Glue, and Glue provides free texting for churches. So that can be internal texting or external texting. So that can be a QR code on a slide that says new here to engage new visitors, or we can take a QR code and put it on your mailer so that anytime somebody scans that QR code inside the Glue platform, now you're already in a conversation with that person before they even show up on a Sunday. So they may have questions about, how long is the service, or do you offer childcare, or how many services do you have, or what's your statement of faith? And you'll be able to engage the people in your community via text before they even get there on Sunday. And the cool thing about text is it's a 98% open rate. So now you're engaging in the way people want to communicate. So to recap, we have direct mail, we have email, now we're texting them, and then we also take your same design and target the same people using your same design on Facebook and Instagram. So say you're targeting, 5,000 people, 10,000 people in your, local community. We're also going to run ads on Facebook and Instagram using the same design with ad spend behind them to reach people that you're not normally reaching on social media with Facebook and Instagram ads. A quick note about just organic social media is about a 5% reach. So it's really important, but just keep in mind when you're posting on Facebook, it's important to engage your current people that are following you. But unless people are liking and sharing it, the algorithms aren't set to engage just your community at whole. When you're running Facebook and Instagram ads, we can target people in a 10-mile radius, a 20-mile radius, really target your whole community to reach them digitally. So direct mail, email, text messaging, and social all included in one package. And you don't have to do this whole package as a package. You can do these one-off, so you can just send direct mail with the email and the texting, or just run a social ad. And I know Jake's going to dive into social ads a little bit later. But again, we're seeing just a lot of success with Smart Mail. We're really excited about it. And hopefully you guys can utilize it to reach people in your community.
Yeah, it's so good, Matt. And let's kind of review back all the way through that and move slowly through each of those 4 pieces. So if that wasn't clear, this is kind of step number 1 of 5 is generally what we call Smart Mail. But within Smart Mail, there's 4 things, right? So it's the physical mail, the informed delivery email, the texting sequence, and then the social ad integration as well. And so part one, and then, chime in with any of this too, Matt. Like you said, just helping with anything from design, targeted mailing lists, printing, postage, post office delivery, low price guarantee. Just a couple benefits here. You see physical presence. You create a tangible connection, making the message more memorable. You can do targeted outreach. We can always target people of specific neighborhoods or demographics. The cool thing about that is that you're really maximizing your investment toward the most receptive audience. For example, if you have a vacation Bible school event coming up, what if you sent postcards rather than to everybody? You said, let's send postcards to 2,000 homes within 10 miles of me that have kids between the ages of 4 and 11. Like that is a hyper-focused, very efficient way ultimately to steward your resources, and just send it to who it really needs to be sent to. And obviously high visibility. Postcards often remain in the home for an extended period, sustaining visibility that moves people toward action. And I always say here, me and Matt both, we're kind of in the prime millennial age. And I was raised with a smartphone since high school. And I'm saying from my perspective, a physical piece of mail means a lot to me. And I know that for some, that's not a popular opinion, but the ability to hold something in my hand, it just stands out to me more than a text message or an email. So there's some
quick
power.
Story on that.
Yeah,
Jake, if I can jump in.
Yeah.
So a couple of stories, but one of my favorite stories is just about this guy here. Locally, I worked with Church of the Highlands in Alabama for several years, and one of our senior pastors was telling me a story about direct mail when I transitioned into this role. It was like, several years ago we sent out this mailer, and we get the story about this guy who got the mailer, threw it on his dashboard, and saw it every day for 6 months. Just kind of ignored it. Just as kind of a piece of junk to him. Wasn't a believer. Wasn't interested in church. So sees this mailer every day for 6 months. His life's falling apart. I think he lost his job. Was going through some really hard marriage stuff, and then finally was just kind of at the end of his rope. It's like, whatever. I'm gonna, I'll give church a try. Ends up visiting this church with this mailer he's been seeing every day for 6 months. Gives his life to the Lord, his marriage gets restored, and just the whole trajectory of his life. And his pastors, as you know, like that impacts not only for him, but for generations to come, because of 8.5 by 5.5 piece of mail that landed in his mailbox. So you said staying power, and that's so true. I mean, these can land up on refrigerators, kitchen counters. I think everybody's got a junk drawer in their house somewhere, so maybe it lays in there, and no telling that little seed, the impact it can have, just not only in one individual, but for generations.
So good and so true. So that's part number one, is this physical direct mailer. Number two is informed delivery. Just a few more specific stats on that is that when you send this email through the USPS informed delivery, you get 13% more reach, 39% more attention to the postcard, 37% more responses due to second and third impressions, and 20% more conversions of people visiting your website. 62% open rate on those emails versus, I would say, a national average of about 20%. This is about 3 times higher than industry standard email open rates. So most emails, most people, about 20% of them get opened. 60% of USPS informed delivery emails get opened. For texting, again, this is a free service that happens through our partner Glue. Throw a QR code on the piece of mail, and when people scan that, it'll start a text conversation that you or your staff can respond to, creating a two-way interaction and a relationship, really. And then social ads, the pro there is just that this thing matches the whole campaign. So we create unmatched ads on Facebook and Instagram, and like Matt was saying, this just kind of gets a little bit of gas behind the behind what you would be running otherwise, and really kind of gets it out there into more of your desired audience. So that's all kind of under the Outreach Smart Mail umbrella. If that's of any interest, we would just love to talk with you about that and what it would look like specifically to send a Smart Mail campaign to your community. Now,
hey,
number
Jake,
two, yeah.
Would you mind going over the stats again?
Yeah, of course.
I'm trying to take notes here, and everything is so good. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, of course, Justin. Thanks for, and everybody, feel free.
Thanks
as
for
we're
letting me
going.
interrupt.
Yeah. Great for this
Great.
to be collaborative, and feel free to unmute as you want to speak up and say, hey, stop right there, or ask any questions or whatever. So this is informed delivery. It has 62 million users, increasing postcard reach by 43%. There's just some numbers there. 13% more reach, 39% more attention to the postcard. And I couldn't even tell you the calculations we ran to get some of these numbers, but these are because factors like you're seeing it, in your email, and then you're seeing it in the mailbox. Things like 0.5 people per home have informed delivery. So you send a postcard to a home, chances are more than one person in that home are going to get an email with the image of your postcard on their email. And then they're going to go out to the mailbox, get the piece of paper. So there's just a lot more happening, in the whole kind of marketing world. We talk about touch points, and it takes anywhere from 8 to 12 touch points, just visually seeing something for someone to even have a conscious opinion about, the fact that you exist. So we're all about, again, just kind of stacking those touch points and planting as many seeds as we can. 13%, 39%, 37%, 20% more conversions. Which that's a powerful stat right there. We want people clicking through and landing on your website and figuring out like, okay, this is a church near my home. Like, let's, do I want to go visit or not? And we want to get them to your website as much as possible. A few stats there. This is about open rate, 62% open rate for those USPS informed delivery emails. Yeah, and then we've got the text and we've got the social. Thanks so much, Justin, for asking. Now for social ads, we want to make this a separate category because you can do social ads as a part of the Smart Mail package, but we also just want to separate it and say, hey, it doesn't have to be part of this, Smart Mail package. Not everybody is I saw a comment there, not everybody is a direct mail proponent. And if not, like, let's see how we can help you just with a social ad campaign. Just some benefits and pros here. Social ads are wider reach and they're laser focused. So exponentially more visibility and more precision in who you target. It increases engagement. With social, it's all about real-time interaction with audience, and you get to utilize multimedia strategy, right? We all know social media. You scroll Facebook, you scroll Instagram. There's videos, there's static images, there's interactive content and questions and polls. That's kind of the power behind social media. And it's just cost effective. It's a high return on ad spend, what they call ROAS in the marketing world, return on ad spend, with measurable results. After you do a social media campaign with outreach, you get a really detailed report showing you how things performed, showing you, okay, we ran this campaign for X amount of days, either 10 days or 12 days or 15 days, and we'll show you how many impressions you got. Was it 20,000? Was it 40,000? And we'll show you how many click-throughs to your website happened. Okay, did you get 200 clicks to your website, 400 clicks to your website? We'll kind of talk through that. Outreach social ads, 1, 2, 3-step process. Just select it. What do you want it to look like? What package do you want? There's a bronze, a silver, and a gold. Customize it, and then we just handle the rest. We build your ad, get your approval, select the audience, and we run the ad. Now, number 3, I'll talk through this one again, and then I'll kick it back over to Matt. Number 3 is what we call Back to Church Sunday. This is a movement that's been around for years. It's a specific Sunday every fall where we just say, hey, global church, let's focus on empowering our people to invite their world to church. So it's called National Back to Church Sunday. It's happening this year on September 15th, which is just about a month away, almost exactly a month away. The question is, why Back to Church Sunday? With my background in pastoring, that's the kind of question I would ask, because I would say, well, no, let's make every church, or every Sunday service the day where people are inviting people. And of course, that's ideal. Like, we want to foster a culture where our church is always feeling empowered and equipped to invite people. But here's some brutal realities. 5% of Americans have received a personal invitation to church. That is a sobering statistic. And this next one is almost worse. 80% of Americans would be open to attending church if invited by a friend. So let me just toggle back and forth and bring out some cognitive dissonance here. Number 1, 5% of Americans have received a personal invitation to church. Number two, 80% of Americans would be open to attending church if invited by a friend. These are two extremely different numbers. And so ultimately, that's why Back to Church Sunday. A few years back, I was coaching my little girls in their T-ball team. Me and my did it. A 8-year-old was probably 6 at the time, and she was playing T-ball. And now I just vividly remember time and time again, like probably 1,000 times over that 8-week period, just setting a ball on a tee, because none of the kids were quite good enough yet to hit the ball as I pitched it to them. So you would just tee it up, and they got really good at seeing the, kind of soft, squishy ball sitting on top of the tee, and then just whacking it and hitting it wherever it would go. Now that's kind of what this is. Back to Church Sunday is really us just putting the ball on the tee for all of our people and saying, okay, like here it is. It's this easy. Let's almost carve this day and just almost give you an excuse to talk about church with people. And we see incredible results from that. We see that people in churches, they feel more empowered, literally just because we said, there's a day, like here's the special day to do it. And we see incredible returns on that. A few steps to get involved with this. Number one, add your church to the free map of participating churches. This makes it easy for people to find your church if they're, Googling church. Number two, get the 2024 Back to Church Sunday Sermon and Resource Kit. And number three, get some invitation and promotional tools. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Like I was saying, 80% say that a special day motivated their members to invite friends and family. Again, I think so often people want to do it. They just don't know how to start the conversation, and they don't necessarily feel like there's a reason to start the conversation. So it's almost like the way that people invite people for Christmas or they invite people for Easter, because we gave them a date and there was a reason, there was an excuse to have the conversation. That's what we're doing back to church. We're saying, okay, people are coming back into the norms and the rhythms of fall. Let's just mark a day and say, it's the day. Okay, go invite people. 90% say that Back to Church Sunday helps their church be more outwardly focused. 97% would participate again. Let's pause right there. I see, Mike, you've got a hand raised. Mike, do you have a question, comment? Go ahead and unmute and share with us if you had something. Give it a second here. And if not, we'll keep rolling here, Mike, and at the end, feel free again to share. Just be respectful of everyone's time. Matt, let me kick it back to you. The fourth thing is called invitation stations.
Yeah, so another thing we've launched fairly recently is our invitation stations. So you can see here, these are 23 by 35 and a half. They're rigid signs, so they're real thick and hardy, and they have the custom covers on the front, so you can customize these with your artwork as well. Or we have several stock designs that you can choose from, and they're only $147, free shipping, and you'll put all the invitation cards in the front of these. So what this looks like, what we did with Church of the Highlands, we had one of these at every campus, and all of our campus pastors at the end of services would close with, hey, go in next week, bring somebody with you. And as they're exiting the doors, we would have a few of these. We'd have, one at every exit. So as people are exiting, they can just grab a handful of these. And Jake, I love the stats you shared. There's a Lifeway stat a couple of years ago. It said, 80% of people, like you mentioned, would come to church if a friend or family member invited them. But of church-going Americans, only 2.5% invite their friends or family to church. So you can see there's, like Jake mentioned, this huge disconnect between those two numbers. And that's what outreach, we're here to try to close the gap with some of these things. So we're constantly trying to come up with ideas like this. And this is one we feel really good about, just having that very practical as you're closing your service. Like, hey, I'd love for you to invite a friend or family, maybe even share some of these stats with your congregation on a Sunday. Like, hey, this is the divide. This is, how we can make up that divide. And as they're leaving, just grabbing a handful of those invitations and pass them out to, their kids' travel ball parents or whatever they're doing. There's so many opportunities throughout the week to invite people to church just with one little touch point or an act of kindness, something like that. So yeah, the invitation stations have been great. Like I said, they're customizable to match your branding, or there's several stock designs on our website that look great that you can choose from.
Yeah, so
that's
good.
Yeah, that's a great point on the slide there, to equip the saints to go out and be the church. Go be the church, be an inviter, be a bringer, invite people with you, a visual and reminder to go out to the community and share the love of Christ, and invite people to come worship with them the next Sunday.
Yeah, I put these words here on this slide. I always find myself kind of having that conversation. My church over here in California, like our entire vision statement is kind of built around Ephesians 4, to equip the saints for the work of ministry, and not just to feel like, we are these paid professionals who are giving you goods and services that you tithe for us to give you, right? Like that's not it. That's not the vision of the church. It's to equip saints for the work of ministry, shoulder to shoulder, going and being the church together. And so I always just kind of find myself, talking people through what this tool is. It's a visual reminder and a tangible tool. Like every time they come in and out of the building, they see, oh yeah, that's my job too. It's not just the pastor's job. Like that's my role. Okay, let me grab one of these. Let me go out and let me have some conversations with people. Invitation stations, such a simple but helpful, practical, tangible thing. Last thing of all these 5 ways to double visitors, number 5, just what we call intentional neighboring. Now, just 2 thoughts on this. Number 1 is, what can you equip your church to do? And number 2 is, what can you do at kind of a leadership systematic level? What can you equip your church to do? Just like we've been talking, it's invite cards. It's equipping them with whatever they need in order to go have the conversations and make the invitation. But number 2, I think of one of the most powerful ways you can be a neighbor to people is through what we call our new mover mailers, which some of you have heard about. We do webinars on that often, but it's just one of those services where basically it's a monthly subscription-based thing where every month we send new mover invites to everyone who has moved within the last 30 to 45 days or so. So you sign up one time and you kind of pick a radius around your church, and you say, okay, let's send every month, whoever moved, they'll get a welcome piece of mail. It's one of my favorite things that we've started doing in the last decade that I can think of, because it's so intentionally targeting people who are in this season of transition. They say that people are most likely to engage or re-engage with church during seasons of transition. Sometimes that's tragedy. Sometimes it's a new job. Sometimes it's a new baby. But one of the most common and frequent seasons is when people move. So if you haven't looked into that at all, I'd really encourage you to check it out. Again, any of us on the team would love to talk you through that. So just a few of the benefits there include a welcome piece of mail on kind of a set it and forget it basis. You sign up one time, and you can cancel anytime too, but you sign up one time, and then every month you can rest assured that everybody who moves within a specified radius is going to get a welcome piece of mail from your church. Now, again, that's in the category of neighboring for me, because I think back to when my wife and I moved to our town. We're in a pretty small town. When we moved here 8 years ago, about 6 months in, we found ourselves saying to each other, it feels like nobody here needs new friends, but we need new friends. So it felt like this imbalance. Like, are we the only ones who need new friends? Now, the opportunity, I think, for church leaders is just to realize that every single month, there are people moving within 5 miles of your church or 10 miles of your church, and they're feeling that same thing. They're feeling like, okay, I think we're the only ones here who need new friends, and everyone else here is kind of, they're fine. Like, where do we plug in? Where do we belong? Where do we find community? And for so many of those people, it can be something as simple as a little piece of mail that just says, hey, we see you. Like, we know that you're new. We care about you. We want to offer you a place to belong, and just say, like, hey, we know moving is hard. We know finding community is hard. No pressure, but hey, if you want to, come check us out. Here's our service times. We'd love to see you. Sometimes that could be a lifeline to a family that is new in your area. So all of that being said, these have been 5 ways to double your visitors. To review, you've got Outreach Smart Mail. You have Outreach Social Ads included with Smart Mail or separate of Smart Mail. You have number 3, Back to Church Sunday, happening September 15th, a day to encourage the nation to invite their world to church. Number 4, Invitation Station, a very tangible tool and a visual reminder to equip saints for the work of ministry. And number 5, intentional neighboring, both through invite cards through your church members or through something like a new mover mailer from you as the church leaders. So let's go. Yeah, I want to open it up. Matt likes that. He likes that dance.
Yeah, I
Now,
got
with
me.
all that
That
being
was
said,
good.
yeah, we're about 30 minutes in. I obviously want to be super respectful of everyone's time. At this point, if you leave the chat room, no feelings will be hurt, no offense taken. But we'd love to just open it up for another 10 to 15 minutes, questions or thoughts or just anything. So feel free to either drop something in the chat window, we'll try to respond, or you can unmute your mic as well and just speak out questions or thoughts that you have.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, I'm from Dallas, and I work with about 3 or 4 church congregations in my community. Would like to find out if there's a way to get materials that emphasize back to church weekend, because some of the congregations are Christian congregations, but they worship on Friday evenings or on Saturday.
Yeah,
So what do
absolutely.
you
It's great feedback. Yeah.
I'm just dropping a quick link in the chat called backtochurch.com. And if you open that up, again, that's in the chat bar of your screen. If you open that up, it should have most of the info and some helpful links, some helpful forms for everything you'd need.
Thanks.
This is Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Been working on the Back to Church, and a lot of the material that I see doesn't have the date, so you could actually put your own date in there for that Sunday, which the previous person just said Back to Church weekend, which would be a great idea too.
Yeah, great point,
Yeah.
Dan. Thanks.
So this is Dan again. I have a question in regards to the fifth thing, the invitation mailers. When we sign up for that, then does Outreach print those cards then that we would, or that you would send out to new movers in the area?
Yeah, Matt, you want to answer
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we do. So if you're doing like just like a one-time mailing through the smart mail like we're looking at, or our new mover mailing program, which goes out every month, we handle everything. So you can choose from one of our designs. All of our designs are customizable with, obviously your service times, a note from you. They're stock designs, but you can customize them, or you can create your own design, but we'll handle all the fulfillment other than that. So we'll print them, we'll ship them to the post office, we'll pay for all the postage and get them into homes. One-stop shop.
Okay, so that's for the mailing that you would want to mail out for a specific event, such as Back to Church Sunday, or it's a monthly thing that would mail out to those new movers in that area. Is there more than just a postcard invitation? Is it a packet of information, or just a postcard saying, hey, we're a local church in your area? I know that you just moved into the area. We'd like to welcome you to the community, and
Yeah.
church on the corner of such and such streets, and we would enjoy to get to know you or meet you or whatever.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Dan. But it's a postcard, but we also send you, so you can send out one postcard every month or two. So we have a feature called multi-reach where you can send out one the beginning of the month after they move in, and then one at the end of that month. It can be the same design, two separate designs. And then we send you a list of all the names and addresses that are moving into your community that we sent postcards to. So for like your outreach team, go out with door hangers and hang on, knock on doors, invite people to church. You could take, maybe a few of those on that list and send them a pizza. I mean, there's a lot of creative ideas you can do to welcome people in that neighborhood because you have all the information now. So we're going to send them a postcard, then send you the information, and your follow-up can look like, a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we do have the capability, for what it's worth, to print really all kinds of things and even mail things. So to your question, is it a packet? I mean, we could, with a full custom order, we could print a 15-page informative booklet and then those as well. Just be a bit more money than what this is. So this is a singular, piece of paper. But as far as capability goes, we're always happy to talk about more too. I always, and before I see James's hand as well, but before we say that, I always encourage Dan as well. We give that list to you after you do the new mover mailers every month. A great way to just track, is this an effective thing, is just keep track of that list of names and then compare and contrast it with whatever lists you already keep for maybe first-time visitors or your membership class or something like that. So you can kind of see, okay, are any of these names ever showing up on these lists over here? And if they're not, you should cancel it. But if they are, which that's kind of why it's like we always see that it kind of works. Like you see some of these names showing up over here on those lists. Yeah, James, you've got a hand up. Go. I see you're unmuted, not hearing anything quite yet.
I think he might be accidentally doing it. But I have a question, if I can interject.
Yeah, Justin,
Yeah,
go
of
for it.
course.
And James, cut in if you ever get audio before Justin.
It was he actually. Okay, I don't know, but anyways, so I have a question about first time guests, and it's a little bit off subject, but because I was just thinking about the mailer. One thing that I've seen work really well with the mailer is to put on the bottom saying, bring this mailer in, this postcard to redeem like a free gift or whatnot, like a welcome gift. And I was wondering if you, Jake or Matt or anybody else on the call, if you guys have seen success with different gifts, first time gifts. We tried a mug with the logo on it as a church plant, but then we realized only the people that were, friends of somebody really cared about it, because it was like, I don't want a logo. I don't want something with your logo on it. And so we're just trying to find a good gift once we do get those visitors. And so, yeah.
Like, just give me a free Yeti with no brand on it. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$100 gift card.
Yeah. But it's a great question, Justin. Yeah, we see.
It is a good question.
Yeah, best practices for mailer invites. We always see some kind of like incentivization to get them to bring in the card. And then whether that is, if you have a coffee table at your church or even your own cafe or something, hook them up with a free coffee, of course, or something like that. Or often they say, bring it in for a free gift, and then that free gift is another local place, like they do a Chick-fil-A card, or like, another, favorite local coffee shop or something like that. And it's related, but almost a different topic too. One of my favorite first time guest little package, it included this little bookmark card inside of like a mug, and it said, not your cup of tea, ? Like, is our church not your cup of tea? Try one of these other churches in the area that teaches the gospel and loves Jesus. And it listed 7 other churches that
That's great.
That kind of. I just loved that. I thought it was the coolest tone of like, hey, like we are in it for the kingdom. Like, we're not trying to sell you on anything or get you to come here, your money or whatever. We care about you plugging into a local community somewhere. So just as food for thought, I loved that. Anything you've seen, Matt, that's just cool gift or incentive?
Yeah, so we do these custom church journals too. They're based off the SOAP method, like scripture, observation, application, and prayer. So this can be customized like with your branding, or we have stock ones you can choose from. But there's a couple of churches that we work with that give those out when people come for the first time. It's just like, oh, hey, here's a prayer journal you can take with you. But again, that's kind of back to your point. It's like your branding. So I think you're looking for something a little different. But I love the idea of bring this in for a free gift. And like Jake said, that could be Starbucks or Chick-fil-A. The only thing to keep in mind with that is you can't advertise like with those brands on the postcard with nonprofit postage, but you can say free gift and just keep it kind of open-ended.
I see in
Yep.
the chat over there, Jamie Staller saying, cookie and coffee on the first visit, Chick-fil-A on the second visit.
Can you hear me now?
So keep it coming. And then I see Michael, thanks for popping in. That's awesome. Like a bag of,
Nice.
quality from a local
Yeah.
spot. Thanks for popping
Can
in.
you
That's
hear me?
great. Genius,
Yeah,
Michael.
I think you, James.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
I'm Pastor James, probably the only person from UK.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I pastor a church in UK in the Midlands. And
Wow.
Back to Church is something we have been following for about 3 years now. And this year we're trying and planning to make it bigger than we've done in the past. But our challenge is subscribing to all these things you've talked about. We can't really get it from the US, and you don't ship outside the US. The last materials we bought from you, shipped to a friend in the US, cost us $150 to ship it to the UK, which is way more than the cost of the materials that were bought. So my question is, all these flyers, invites that you do, is it possible for you to also sell the e-copy so that we can print locally in the UK?
That's
Yeah,
I think we can
absolutely.
talk to Jamie about that and verify. Jamie, I don't know if you're on the call, but can we sell the artwork for them to print locally?
Say that again, Matt.
He was asking, can he's in the UK? Can they take our artwork and print it locally in the UK and have like a different person fulfill the mailing order or invite cards, things like that, instead of us shipping them?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, we
Okay.
probably just want to
Ja-
work that out with the rep and then connect with the OMS to get the file, the print file to get it printed.
Got it. Hey,
Yeah.
James, I got your email. I'll definitely circle back with you on that and let you know of a good solution there.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, of
Great
course.
question, James.
Looks like Denise has a hand raised.
Hello, good afternoon, all.
Hey,
Hello.
Denise.
Hey, Denise.
Hey, I'm a lay leader, and also I'm the contact for special needs ministry for our young adults in the community. So this is the situation with our church. We are a 2-point charge. I believe that's the correct word soup name for it. So we have two churches, one in the east side of Boynton, more traditional, very traditional service with same biblical message, same message from two pastors that go back and forth between the west campus, which I'm active in, which is more contemporary service, but we're building the church. We have a very small congregation right now. So if we did a direct mail type project, would you suggest that we give you the zip codes for the two separate churches? Because we would like to put both churches on that, because we're both Faith Church of Boynton and First Church of Boynton. Thank you.
Great question. Yeah, we do a lot of work with a lot of, maybe in the category of multi-site churches or multi-campus churches. And there's really a few different ways to strategize that. And I would say probably most often is that if they want to do a mailing project that is relevant to multiple campuses, you start with you say, let's hit this zip code and this zip code and this zip code. Or you can start with a radius, like you can start with a central address and say, let's do a 2-mile radius around this address, and let's also do a 3-mile radius around this address over here. And we do that at pretty much any scale. I mean, you do stuff for Highlands all the time that has, I don't know how many campuses.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely we can. The multi-site world, we're pretty familiar with that. So Denise, we can help you customize that map and make it work for you for sure.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Touch. Anybody else? We'll just leave it open for a couple more minutes here. See James?
Yes, hi. Could you just talk a little bit more about the texting with the glue and how you sign up with that to be connected with you guys? Is that something I can just do from your site, or?
Yeah, so you just go to glue.us and they have a free version and a paid version. The free version is going to get you the texting that you can use internally with your database. It syncs up with Planning Center, Church Community Builder, most of your church CMSs. So you can import your contact list in there and then start texting internally. And then if you want to add that to a mailer, we can actually, they have a free QR code generator within the platform. So we'll take that QR code and put it on your mailer. So if somebody scans that mailer, they can start a conversation with you in the Glue platform. But again, you can also use it outside of the mailer just for internal communication.
Okay. And then so is that similar to text in church, or?
Yeah, similar to text in church, but it's free. There's a free version that gets you, I think it's about 10,000 texts a month for free.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then the paid version is only $49 a month. The paid version gets you 50 new mover invites for free, and you get unlimited texting and unlimited groups.
Okay.
And it's
And that's
$49 a month.
the new mover mailer we've been talking about, the physical
Yeah.
postcards. So if you're ever interested
So
in
that's
that,
included with the free glue?
that's
With the paid glue, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
with the paid glue. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's helpful though.
Yeah, but it's glue, gloo.us. I'll put it in the chat, James, so you have it.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep, of course.
Does that also work in the UK or just in the US?
I'm not sure.
I think it's just in the US.
And then Long has a hand up. Hello, Long. How can we help you?
Sorry, trying to turn this on. Hey, first of all, thank you guys so much. This is super helpful.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah.
Just curious. So obviously the best is to do all five, but if there was one that we had to prioritize, or that you guys would prioritize to like maybe move towards first, which one would it be of these five?
What a great question. You go first.
Yeah, that is a good question. Yeah, I would say it obviously depends on budget for sure. But if
Yeah.
it was me, I think I would do the direct mail coupled with the social media campaign. Like if you can do that, I think that's going to get you the most reach and impressions in your community.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I was curious what you'd say because I 100% agree. I think that's just, but again, I mean, that's one of the bigger investments, but it also, we see it just being one of the bigger returns all the time.
Yeah.
Hit a direct campaign with social
Okay.
ads.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for asking, Long. Max?
Yes. I have a question because I'm here in Montreal, Canada. We have a French-speaking church because Montreal, most of people speak French. So my question is, if I try to order direct mail, is there any way to do that to translate that in French?
I don't know that. Do we do direct mail in Canada, Jamie?
No,
Matt,
unfortunately, we can't do it in Canada. Some different laws and regulations that apply there.
Okay.
But we can, like our invitation station, some of the signs and banners, we could ship to you guys.
Okay, so it can come here in French. If like
I
try to give you like the text in French.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the graphics and design, like if you wanted to create something that was in French, we could definitely upload it into any of our products.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we can print pretty much whatever you'd want to give us, and then through the process, there will be a few steps of proofing and approving that artwork as well. So you would be able to see, because I don't know that anyone on our team speaks French, but we'd have your eyes on it as well, just giving us the thumbs up before we print whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's awesome. That's so cool that you're doing ministry there, Max. Thanks for that question. Okay. Well, it seems that we're kind of dwindling here. So yeah, if we could, I'd love to bring it to a close here in just a minute, but before, oh, Cece got one last one in. Go for it, Cece.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'd like to know for church congregations who have small, very small congregations, okay, and very small budgets, what would you suggest that that you could work with, or you could recommend maybe?
I know my thought on that, and Matt, feel free to share too. My thought on that is to look at these lower investment but high return things that we have available. Number one could be something like invite cards with or without an invitation station, depending on budget, right? So I mean, you can get a few hundred invite cards for really inexpensive. Stock up on those. Depending on how big or small the budget is, potentially grab an invitation station or potentially not. And then potentially, a texting setup or maybe one social ad package. So I'm kind of thinking anything that's in there like under $200 or even $100 potentially, where you're not spending a ton of money, but you are also kind of equipping your church with a big gesture of, hey, it's your job to invite people, right? Like, here's something to equip you to go be the church, and costing as much money, but it is accomplishing that gesture of empowering and equipping your church. So I think invite cards, maybe a social ad, maybe an invitation station, but maybe not.
Yeah, I would echo the same thing, Cece. I think the invitation station is a good place to start. Obviously, I don't know your budget, so be mindful of that. We do have our social ad that runs on Facebook is $300. It runs for 12 days, so that's, I think, a great place to start if you have an event that you're trying to gain momentum around. And then we do a minimum of 500 on direct mail, 500 homes, and with nonprofit postage, that's about $450, somewhere in there. So just to give you kind of a framework, throwing some of those prices out there to give you a framework to kind of think through. But I think the invite cards and just empowering your people to go out and invite their friends and family to come visit you guys at church is a great place to start.
Yeah. Love that question, CC. And yeah, if there's ever any way we can support you, we'll do whatever we can.
Yeah.
So do you have your information in the chat or we can just call at any time?
I'm putting Jake's email in the chat, and I'll put my email in the chat. And you guys can reach out to us. And then I think we'll probably be sending out a webinar recording, and you guys, a sales rep will reach out to you as well. So you'll have some of our information. And then our numbers on the website, we have a chat on the website, live chat. So feel free to reach out, and whatever method's easiest for you, CC.
Thank you, and like to recommend that you, if you haven't already, put a scripture on those posters, or are there already scriptures on those banners?
Yeah, we have scriptures on some of them, and then you can certainly upload scripture if you'd like to.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that. Give them the word. I love it. Hey, let's do this. We're kind of ramping down. I just want to pray over the leaders who are still on this call. Just a quick prayer, kind of blessing you and sending you in the work that you're doing. And then we'll hang out here another 2 or 3 minutes, but we'll kind of close the call down in just a minute. But like Matt was saying, outreach.com, you can find everything you need. Our emails will be there. You can find phone numbers online, and you'll get a follow-up email. That being said, let me pray for you. Lord, thank you so much for these moments that we've shared. Would we be encouraged, and would our hearts and our vision be uplifted just knowing that there were about 80 people on this call spread out all over the country who are doing the same kind of work, putting in the same kind of investment that we're putting in. They're doing the work behind the scenes that nobody will ever see or appreciate, but we're doing that, Lord, because we believe that you and your church are the hope of the world. We believe that Jesus came to give life and life to the full, and we want to share that with everybody we know and everybody we see in our communities. So Lord, I pray that we would be blessed, we'd be encouraged. I pray that you would use even these moments we've shared, Lord, to plant little seeds that turn into a large harvest, that people all across the country will come to know the saving love of Jesus because of the ministry work that these leaders are doing. So God bless them, keep them. and would you provide just exponential return on the work that they're putting in for the gospel. We love you. We do all of this in order to glorify you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay.